41 men within the illustrious 109-year history of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated have been honored with the distinction of being named the Grand Basilei. They are exceptional leaders who represent the highest ideals of the cardinal principles of manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. Their bright flame for leading Omega was lit upon initiation when their home chapters recognized their exceptional leadership qualities.
A fraternity meant more than what we understood it to mean at that point. That it was more than just high kicking, stomping, singing, having a good time, partying, hanging out, but there was business to take care of in Omega, and Omega owed a greater role to society than what I understood it going through the process, believe it or not. At that particular meeting, I got so engaged in the organization and learning things and talking to people. As a neophyte, I got elected to the undergraduate state rep from Missouri and Kansas.
But we immediately wanted to step into leadership roles. The brothers on the line with me served, all of them came from backgrounds where they had led in different areas. And so we immediately got involved. The university recognized that we were a new organization, but appeared to be one that others recognized as leaders.
In the year 2020, Omega has living Grand Basilei, whose lamps were directly filled by the honorable fraternity founders.
The greatest thrill of my Omega life occurred at that meeting. Not that I had won the office of second vice Grand Basilei, but the fact that after the election, brothers Love and Cooper came up to me. And both of them shook my hand and hugged me, and both said that they had voted for me. And I said to them, well, you're the cause that I won. Because had they not voted for me, I wouldn't have won by that one vote. And that was a great thrill. And Brother Love said to me that he knew I was going to do well.
I had an experience as a young undergraduate, first of all, in meeting the founders, Brother Cooper and Brother Love. And when I graduated, I also, before they entered Omega chapter in 72 and 74, I had a chance to sit and have a conversation with them. As a matter of fact, it was a situation like we're in now. They were sitting, I was sitting on the floor. There was about 5 or 6 of us who were sitting on the floor in front of them. And as they spoke to us, the one thing that's seared in my mind, they were frail in terms of their physical being because they were long in years, but they were strong mentally. And they shared all of the ups and downs of establishing fraternity. And before we left them, I recall the tears in their eyes. As we were about to leave, they said, young brothers, we gave birth to this fraternity. I want you to promise us you won't let it die.
The brothers' participation in the civil rights movement deepened their love for Omega.
I was originally on the board of the NAACP there in Ocala. And then I found 2 organizations, the Concerned Citizens of the Black Community and Black Students in Action. And they became the real action groups in Marion County. Marion County at that time was, of the 68 counties in Florida, it was the 14th largest county in Florida, and was one of the most segregated counties in the state of Florida. And so we moved to change some things.
As I said, the civil rights movement was heating up, and we shut down the campus in protest. And as we shut down the campus, and the reason we shut down the campus because due to the prejudicial nature of the area, what happened was 2 of our students died on the way to the hospital because at Southern University, both entrances had railroad tracks across. And the train would park there and wouldn't move. And so the ambulance could not get them to the hospital. So 4 of our colleagues died, so we'd had enough. And so we shut the campus down.
The developing of the next generation of leaders in Omega is a shared priority.
Been involved with Garner Road Community Center ever since I graduated from NC State. So the athletics, but as well as the fact at the community center, we serve the least of them. We have a lot of outstanding kids who are from families that could go any place and do anything. But we also have some kids that wouldn't have those opportunities. And we see those kids come and graduate, get into college or go to the military and being successful and doing a lot of great things.
Well, in 1992, I got into the field of counseling. And so what I had been doing out in the streets of my local community was helping individuals that had substance abuse problems get into substance abuse treatment.
The physical and mental health of the brotherhood is of the utmost importance for brothers to live long, productive lives and be available to their families and communities.
One of the most unintentional things I did, but one of the best things, was starting the prostate cancer community. We've had a number of men that have suffered from prostate cancer. A lot of Black men have died because of it.
The initiative that Brother Knox allowed me to start under him with Brother You're On My Mind is still big in this day and time. And that whole initiative is about reducing the stigma that's attached to mental illness and the stigma that's attached to going to get help when you've been diagnosed with a mental illness. And so we're trying to normalize that process for folks and take the shame and guilt about such away from them. And we're first bringing that program to brothers. We want to help our brothers first in terms of reduce the stigma that many of them have, because we're no different from the larger society.
The Grand Basilei have maximized their terms in office and have left their marks on the history of Omega.
One of the most important was moving the headquarters from Washington, D.C. to Atlanta in 1995. I worked very closely with former Grand Bosses Tyrone Gilmore. He was my best friend in the fraternity, which made it an easy job for me to work with him and him to work with me, and he relied on me to a great extent. And we developed this program called Omega 2000. And a part of the Omega 2000 plan was to get us a new headquarters, because the headquarters in Washington, D.C. had become insufficient for us to carry out all of the various operations that we had.
The beautiful moment of the Centennial, when we made that 100 years, I thought we have a chance, those of us who were there, the thousands of brothers who were there, we have a chance to live in 2 centuries. We were at the sunset of 1 century, and we're at the dawn of a new. And how will we close 1 century and open another? And I said the way to do that is that we have to think and pull the best of us. That's all the talents that the brothers had.
What we did with the Smithsonian and being that wall member, I think that was important. But then also, I can think back to us coming together as one and going to Washington, D.C., having 500 brothers walk in dark suits, white shirt, purple tie, C-SPAN talking about who is that organization, and then them talking about Omega Psi Phi.
I think the global expansion of our fraternity during this first year of me being in office, we've charted the first Divine Nine chapter ever in the country of China. And we are the first Divine Nine organization ever to charter in Tijuana, Mexico, in the country of Mexico.
Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated has remained strong for 109 years, guided by our 4 cardinal principles, the fraternity motto, and by the leadership of 41 trusted servants with the title Grand Basilei.
In any organization that exists, people should be able to pick out the mega men. people should be able to pick out the mega men. We should be leaders in each and every one of those organizations. And we spread to so many organizations that our strength should carry through.
We must develop and hone in on 3 sights: hindsight, insight, and foresight. Hindsight tells us where we came, what we did in the past. Insight helps us to analyze where we are. And foresight is looking down the road, futuristic, where we want to be. So it takes 3 sights to have a vision. And those 3 sights, I would want the brothers to embrace, to use, in order that we would have a vision moving forward. And I think our founders would be very proud of us if we did that, because they passed the baton. They had the vision. They had the courage to move us forward.
I want Omega known all across this country as an organization that is the best in terms of doing fatherhood initiatives, working with men, and also mentoring initiatives, working with our young Black men to become men. I think those are the cornerstones of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to do well. We want to improve the business practices of Omega Psi Phi. We believe we can be the premier organization